Today on You Need a Candles, right now, we have one Leprechaun candle available. We have Planet CHH Ultra Spring Melts that smell amazing. We have restocks of the Shamrock Shake, the Uncle Grimacy, and we have a limited run of Daybill style Leprechaun Wax Melts. So right now, You Need a Candles, link down below, go get them. I want to welcome everybody to today's video. I kind of want to have a discussion with you guys, so please come in and have a seat. A lot of times I'll be asked, and this happened yesterday, and it really brought this to my attention. Hey Christian, are you excited for the Friday the 13th new releases coming out? Meaning, Jason X and, Jason Goes to Hell from Arrow Video. I said, yeah, I really am. And I got asked a few more questions about that, and the question ultimately became why. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to talk on this, because I think this is something that, we talk about physical media sometimes, and we talk about franchises, and specifically buying movies multiple times. Listen, I could be judged for how often I buy Friday the 13th stuff, or you could be judged for how often you could buy, X, Y, or Z. But I thought I wanted to talk about that. This isn't necessarily a justification, because honestly, that's a waste of time trying to justify why you might want to buy a movie a number of times, or a series a number of times. But I really wanted to get into that. Why? Why am I excited about these new Friday the 13th releases? Some could say, well, do we need another 10-minute interview with Harry Manfredini? Do we need this on 4K when Scream Factory did an amazing job on the box set? The answer could be no. And respectfully, that answer could be absolutely not. But with me, I want to get into this. Why do I enjoy this series and owning this series so much? Well, with physical media and stuff that you specifically love, like Friday the 13th, it's not always just technical stuff. It's not always just, is the picture quality better, or this. Something about Friday the 13th and me, we have this bond together, me and that franchise. Yeah, I love Elm Street. One of these days, I will eventually say my favorite franchise is Friday the 13th. The thing about me with Friday the 13th, and I think this is something you can relate to, not necessarily with this franchise, you might be able to, but with something else in your life that could be movie or / physical media related. The movies can kind of be, and the releases you have, can almost be a roadmap of your life. When I grab a movie off the shelf, for instance, when I grab something off the shelf like this, the Friday the 13th collection. Now this release, I don't see anybody else have this. What is this? Okay, well, when the deluxe DVDs were coming out, or came out, that was around 2008. Well, Paramount steadily sold those releases for a number of years, and until 2012, that was what they had. Well, they did something pretty unique where they did a bundle. Now, I remember going to Best Buy. I had bought the majority of the films on those deluxe DVD releases. I had a few of them that were the previous DVD releases, but I remember going to Best Buy and grabbing this, and I was just in love with it. I never seen a release like this from Friday the 13th at the time, with this shiny, kind of a holographic cover. And I'd pull it out, and what I really loved looking at this was, the movie facts. They actually got into movie facts about Friday the 13th, which I thought was really cool. They have body counts. Part 1 and Part 2 look like they have the same amount of body counts. Part 4, the final chapter, has an ungodly high body count, and they're represented by hockey masks, excuse me. Part 5, final chapter, a lot of body counts. Part 5 has an ungodly amount of, body counts, but you could see as the series went on, they just got more and more bodies. But when I look at this is a roadmap to a time in my life where I was in love with the franchise. I openly could say at that point, I knew that Friday the 13th was a big part of my life. And I remember getting this so much. And it was a great memory. Some people, I may have gotten the DVDs for Friday the 13th, and that was it. I think physical media, sometimes, it's not just something that we treat as, stuff to just watch the movies. When it's things we love, we collect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just, okay, well, this needs to match all the factors for what I love on, or what I need from this release. Like, I don't have a checklist with these Arrow video releases. Now, that's not to say that they should try to improve things where there's some ground that wasn't covered on previous releases. Well, of course, from that side of things, I totally get that. But why do I like buying Friday the 13th? Why do I like... I like to fancy myself as somewhat of a physical media historian with Friday the 13th because I love the series so much. Like, one of the releases I have that I don't think a lot of people have is this right here. This was the red case DVD release, Blu-ray release. Now, what is this? Well, Paramount had basically utilized the new scans that Scream Factory had done for the box set. And I don't blame Paramount. Now, the cool thing about this was when this came out, it was roughly about $70. And it's the Paramount 8. If you're in Europe or Region B territories, it was the Paramount 8 and the remake. Because Paramount had the home distribution rights to the remake. I believe they still do. But when I got this, I was happy to have this because I got it for $20. And I remember posting about this on YouTube saying, guys, if you want to get this now. And this represents a time... when I look at this, for instance, I think COVID, good or bad. But I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember getting this, and I had a day off work. I think it was even snowing. And I remember sitting there, looking at the front and back, laughing at it, because, you know, Paramount has this thing about making kind of weird artwork with these releases. And the fact that we have, you know, look at that. We have 3 Part 7 Jasons on the front. And 1 Part 2. Now, people were kind of like making fun of that. I was saying to myself, well, what's wrong with Part 7? I love Part 7. You know, let's fill it up with Part 7. And then, of course, with a Part 2 look right there. It's quirky. You know, there's not balance to it. But this was an important release to me because it was like Friday the 13th felt alive and well. And that's another thing that I love about Friday the 13th right now, is despite the fact that we've had canceled TV shows, like from 2017, which I've seen the pictures of that and they're really cool. Or the fact that, you know, the movies now, there's still legal stuff going on. We don't know who owns what. We don't know what's going on. But the fact that physical media is really keeping Jason alive for horror fans in a big way, that's amazing to me. Like, for sure, like, I'm so happy that the fact that we're getting more. And this release, too, reminds me of the same thing. The Steelbook. And I love that because, look, it has Jason Takes Manhattan on the front. Now, you can't see it on the back because it came with collector's cards, but it's got Roy Burns on the back. And I remember getting that on sale. And this represents an era of Friday the 13th. This represents the end of the Blu-ray era in a lot of ways for Friday the 13th. You know, I think we're done with the Blu-ray era. I don't know how many more Blu-rays we're going to have for these movies. So I enjoy cataloging those because they represent parts of my life. I can look at those releases and think back to, like, wow, like, I remember what was going on. Even with, you know, some of the steelbooks and like buying the same movies again, I just get an awesome feeling out of it. You know, I'm not, and the thing is, I don't try to justify people that need to, if I buy something, here's the thing about being on YouTube is this, and this is something you don't hear a whole lot of, but I'm going to give it to you straight. Some people, and I've done it too, so I'm going to include myself in this, especially in the past tense, but yeah, in the past, I have bought something, done a video review of it, or talked about it, and because I got it, I just felt I needed to justify it, so I'm trying to convince you to get it, but what I'm really doing is I'm trying to convince me to get it. And you, the audience, are very smart. You guys can read through that like that. And I learned that the hard way. But I was learning. I was learning that, you know, on YouTube, what you just need to do is be yourself and be honest. Because if people are going to, you know, talk shit about you, you'd rather it be them talking about you when it's actually your thoughts, as opposed to, wow, I tried to lie or say something else and I wasn't even convinced of that, and I'm getting shit on it. I didn't have to say that. So my point is, like releases like this, when they did the Steelbook, the 4K Steelbook with that amazing Waxworks record art, I said, of course you don't need to get that, you know, but I got it and I wanted to talk about it. And again, that represents kind of the birth of the 4K era with Paramount, right? Because they had put out the first movie on that, but not long after that, I think it was roughly a year later, they had done that. And that was an awesome release. But one of my favorite memories, and something I could never sell, and it's funny because I would see people talk about this release, and they were selling them. They didn't need them. And it just blew my mind, because I don't think I'm a bigger Friday the 13th fan than anybody else. I mean, I have audience members that watch this channel that are historians and people that were there and were experiencing the films in the theater real time. That's amazing. I don't have that. I mean, I saw Jason X in the theater. That was my first Friday the 13th I saw in the theater. But one of the biggest landmark things was this right here, this box set. And let me tell you guys something. You strip away the Halloween box set, you strip away the Friday the 13th Scream Factory box set, you strip away a lot of the box sets that came out in recent years. I don't care what anybody says. I was there. I was there for this. When this got announced, it was huge, because nothing like that had been done. You got to remember, this was before the Halloween box set. This is physical media history. This is Friday the 13th history. This box set means the world to me. I even kept the Blu-ray cardboard overlay with this. And I remember YouTube was an amazing place at that time, because people were freaking out, the excitement. You could feel the heartbeat of this release weeks before it was happening, and the anticipation of people getting it. And yeah, people had complaints about it. People were seeing a girl from the remake on the front cover of the box. We should have had Pamela, because chronologically that would have made sense. But, you know, it was the last movie to come out, and that was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That was 4 years, so the remake was still a fresh movie at that time. So I don't know. They did that. You know, I don't know why, but they did that. And two studios merged. Paramount and Warner Brothers, they merged. That was huge. And all the discs for this were brand new pressed discs with new encodings and things like that, all the technical terms. And I don't think that some of these movies were ever released exactly this way again. So this is physical media history. This is Friday the 13th history. I'm so passionate about that, and the eras that this amazing franchise has had from physical media. There's such a rich history with Friday the 13th physical media. Its history, it's remarkable. Even this, which I find to be just fascinating, was the television show. They put a box set out of the television show. I always will say this. Paramount is 10 times the studio Warner Brothers will ever be. People make fun of Paramount, and I don't understand it. Yeah, you know what? When they have a movie that's a hit, yeah, Paramount does a sequel. Nobody thought there was going to be a sequel to Smile, but guess what? They did one. And you know why? Because Paramount gives the fans what they want. Maybe not exactly the nerdy fans like us when we want Friday the 13th stuff, but I give them credit. I will never turn my back on Paramount. I will always praise the way they operate, because we have horror franchises out of a ghost, meaning Paranormal Activity. No other studio would have made that a franchise. And you know what? Those movies, I have memories with them. When I look at the movies, if I pull up my box set that they did and I look at one, I'm transported back to when Part 3 came out. I was just starting nursing school. It was really rough. I was stressed out. My brother said, "It's Halloween tomorrow, Christian. I'm taking you to see Paranormal Activity 3. And I have that memory, that core memory that stays with me. And I remember when this got announced, it was amazing. Now, after that, I subsequently bought the seasons separately, like this, just for, you know, collector's purposes. But this was a huge thing, and Paramount gave it to us. Warner can't give us Freddy's Nightmares to save their life. We're finally getting the Nightmare films on 4K this year, finally, you know, but Paramount has always fed the fans. And some people kind of joke when I say this, but, you know, the thing about Friday the 13th and Paramount that I love is, if you lost your, God forbid, anybody lost their collection, if you had to downsize, if there was an accident, or anything like that, you know, with Halloween, you know, you can get the movies, but you can't just get that awesome Halloween box set from Scream Factory. That's out of print. If you want that, which is still a great item, it's out of print. Nightmare on Elm Street, there's going to be a box set that's coming out, but it's going to be limited. But what I love about Friday and Paramount is they've always got options available for you. And Paramount has allowed Scream Factory to still keep the license to the box set. They put the TV show out, stays in print till this very day. You can easily get this box set. I guess I'm rambling about this whole thing, but my whole point of this is, why do I like to buy Friday the 13th stuff? I'm passionate about Friday the 13th. This is beyond physical media. I love the history of the series. I like to catalog them because they then become parts and moments of my own life. And I think we all have that. It doesn't have to be Friday the 13th for you. It could be something else. But when you look at that wall of movies, it's not just, you don't look at it and say, oh yeah, man, like that Scream Factory box set, yeah, the scan on that part 1 looks good. You say, God, I remember the hype for that. I remember messaging my friends at 2 a.m. freaking out saying, can you believe this is happening? We all have that. So you ask me, why do I like to buy Friday the 13th? Why do I buy Friday the 13th movies so often? Because I love this series. I will continue to do it because, and I won't try to convince you. That's the difference. That's the thing I had to learn. I can be passionate about it, but I don't need to have to try to convince you to buy a movie that you already own on a previous release. That's what I had to learn the hard way. I try not to do that, but my love for this series is so strong. People tell me it's kind of hard not to get excited if they hear me talk about Friday, because I love this series. It's a part of me. It's a part of you watching this probably. So that's why I collect it. I like to catalog these because it's part of the history of the series now. It's beyond physical media. It's a part of the series history. It's a part of my history as a fan. And I enjoy that. And so that's what this whole thing is all about. And that's why I wanted to do this video, to talk to you guys about, why is it? You notice I haven't talked about picture quality. I haven't talked about special features. I haven't talked about slipcovers. It's not about that. I love this series, and I will continue to catalog this series as things comes out because I love the series that much. And I think we all have something like that. And if we can all just take a step back and understand, yeah, people love different things and they want to do this, or they want to get this, they're going to get it. And it's not always about trying to justify, why do you need that? I can't wait to get those 4Ks. And I'm going to be excited. Of course, I'm excited to get those 4Ks. But at the same time, if there's problems or if I'm not super impressed with the way a movie looks, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not gonna try to justify getting it and try to convince you to get it. I'm not gonna do that because that's not what it's about. I love this series, and this is the history of the series to me. The physical media of Friday the 13th is one of the biggest parts of the history of this series, and that's what it's all about to me. So that's the answer. I know I kind of rambled here, but I wanted to talk about this with you guys because I think people need to hear, buying movies multiple times, it's not about justification. It's not about that. Sometimes it's because you just fucking love something. Okay? That's what it's all about. And that's why I do it. And I just think it's a blessing if there's something in your life that you love that much, that when you get an announcement for something as silly as it could be, you're excited. And guess what? If you are, awesome, because I think everybody needs something like that in their life. They need some sort of junk food thing on the side that if you just come up to me and say, if anybody sees me at a convention, or if anybody sees me at or what have you, they just recognize me, because I'm not that the channel is getting huge, but like I'm starting to get recognized every now and again. I have some friends now that are near me that watch the channel that I met because they watch my channel. My point is, if you see me, you can always talk to me about Friday the 13th. If we're in an elevator, bring up whatever, I'll talk about it. I love this series. So that's the answer, guys. That's why I buy Friday the 13th stuff so often. And That's the magic of it. It's not about justification. It's not about, well, the reason I got this is because of the reason I got it is because I love it. So there it is, guys. Sorry about the ramble, kind of, you know, off the cuff nature of this video, but I wanted to talk about this. And if you ever feel like you're gonna get shit for buying something that people are saying this is pointless, if you love it, that's all that matters. If you get enjoyment out of it, that's all that matters. You know, but the trick is, don't try to justify it, because then you'll fall on your face. That's what I learned the hard way. So God bless you guys. Thank y'all for watching this video. I'd love your testimony on this. I really would. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. And if you have, what is your Friday the 13th physical media thing to you in your life? I'd love to know. Thank you guys for watching. Be good, guys, and I'll see y'all next time. And when it comes to Friday the 13th, go enjoy the films. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.